Welcome back, everybody. This morning we're focusing on diabetes, and of course, because of Obesity Week, diabetes and obesity kind of go hand in hand. And this morning we do have Dr. Juan Garcia here along with Ray Saldana to talk to us a little bit more about prevention. And we were just talking off the break how important it is for people to be aware of what they need to be taken care of before it even happens. Right, doctor?
That's correct. You know, patients come in wanting to know if they're diabetic. They want to know what their fasting sugar, whether they qualify to be a diabetic. If the fasting sugar is 125 or more, the hemoglobin A1C is more than 6.4, that's the easy part. But finding the patient that's going to be a diabetic in 10 years, that's where we need to start. Once they're diabetic, we're behind the eight ball. We're playing catch up.
What about the person that's at home watching and says, well, how do I know if I'm going to be a diabetic? What are some of the signs? Well,
there is, in terms of signs, we try to catch the patient before they're diabetic, so they're not going to have any symptoms. But in terms of sign, just measure your gut. You know, get a measuring tape, measure your gut, and that will tell me if you're going to be a diabetic in 10 years. In the office, we can check for biomarkers, and I'm not asking whether you're diabetic. I'm asking whether you're going to be a diabetic in 10 years. And I can identify those patients as, look, we need to stop now before you become a diabetic.
Absolutely. And you work with people like that all the time. Is that correct, Ray? With, you know, symptoms perhaps, or just that are scared, or even diabetics themselves that have already gotten the illness?
I think fear is the biggest thing. I think for just any type of individual to find out that you are diabetic or have cancer, things of that nature. So I think once we get past the fear of going to the doctor and taking those tests and taking those preventive measures, we're able to accomplish what the doctors here is trying to do, prevent that diabetic or possible diabetic down the road.
What are the fears? You touch on that. What do people tell you? What is it that scares them?
I think what they're afraid of is just bad news in general. You know, I have this or I have that, and I know being prevalent to diabetes in our family, you know, the fear of having to prick yourself 2 or 3, 4 times a day, to have to take insulin 2 or 3, 4 times a day. When you think about that in the long run, that there's people that go through that every single day. Not only adults, but you're also talking young adolescents that have to go through that pain every single day. And that's what our efforts are, and the doctor's efforts are, that if we can minimize or eliminate as many as we can to have to go through that pain, then I think our joint efforts have been fruitful.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw some very scary stats. There are 17 million Americans actually suffering from that. And I'm sure that that number increases down here in the Valley because diabetes is so prevalent in the Hispanic community. Really quickly, what are some things people can do right now? I know we all know the basics of eating healthier. Any other tips?
Yes, you know, I usually start with patient stress reduction. Stress raises your cortisol level. So if you can try to lose weight, but if you stress, you're going uphill. Sleep. If you have poor sleep hygiene, suffer from insomnia, that's going to promote weight gain, promote diabetes. We can check those hormones that are affected through sleep. So stress reduction, sleep, you know, dietary modifications, obviously.
Work out.
Yes.
And work out. Those are the 4 important components to making sure you have a healthy lifestyle. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming in this morning and telling us all of this great information that we all definitely needed to hear. So thank you so much. We'll be right back.